Good morning, students. So, in the last class, I think I explained you about the Clemenson and Wolff-Kishner's reduction. So, I want to give a brief thing about the last class. Clear? So, once you see now, everyone know Clemenson's reduction. These two are very important. Clemenson's reduction. So, in Clemenson's reduction, what is the reagent used? Zinc amalgam and HCl. Next is the Wolff-Kishner's reduction. Wolff-Kishner's reduction. So in Wolff-Kishner, what is the reagent used? NH2 in basic medium. NH2 in basic medium. Clear? And remember everyone, in both the reactions, the same thing will happen. C double bonded O converts to CH2. C double bonded O converts to CH2. The same thing will happen in both the reactions. But the only difference is that in Clemenson, acidic medium is used. In Wolff-Kishner, basic medium is used, you see. Clemenson proceeds by acidic medium mechanism. Wolff-Kishner proceeds by basic medium mechanism. I hope you are able to understand. And here, as I mentioned, in both the cases, the product would be same. Hope you are able to understand this one. Right. Now, let us do some questions based on this concept. Okay. Now, first question, see clearly everyone now. Now, here, this is the compound given and this one should be converted like this. Clear? So, what are the reagents used for this conversion? What are the reagents used for this conversion? So, let me give the options also. First one, Clemenson's reduction. Second one, Wolff-Kishner's reduction. Okay. And third option, any of these. And the D, last option, none of these. None of these. So see the question clearly and see what is the concerned answer here. Clear? So see clearly here, C double bonded O converted to CH2. Who can do this one? See clearly and answer this question. First option is the Clemenson reduction. Second option is the Wolff-Kishner reduction. And third option is the any of these. And fourth option, none of these. Hope you are able to understand this one. Okay. So you know what is the answer? Here, answer is, many students may confuse here. Answer is Wolff-Kishner reduction. Okay. Why not Clemenson? That I'm going to explain now. Now, see clearly here, what is the question actually given? Okay. So now see clearly, the actual question given is this one. So now what happened if I use the zinc amalgam in HCl? Okay, HCl is what? Acid, na? So you know oxygen contain two lone pairs. So a chance is there for protonation also. Is it clear? Therefore, Clemenson is not preferable. Why? Because here OH may protonate with H plus also. That also chance is there. But here, once you see now, if the same reaction, if I carry out with Wolff-Kishner, so what is the Wolff-Kishner reagent here? NH2 in basic medium. So now what would be the answer here? Clear? See clearly now. The answer is this one. Okay. So here once you see now, C double bonded O, okay, converted to CH2. So this is the correct one. So here I want to make a note. Now once you see clearly, this group is there now. This group is very sensitive towards acid. So when acid sensitive groups are present, when acid sensitive groups are present, when acid sensitive groups are present, then Wolff-Kishner is preferable. When acid sensitive groups are present, then Wolff-Kishner is preferable. This is the most important statement for this question. I think you are able to understand this one. When acid sensitive groups are present, then Wolff-Kishner is preferable. So for the previous question, let me go to the previous slide. You see here, the answer I ticked is Wolff-Kishner only, remember, but not the Clemmensen. Hope you are able to understand this one. Followed, right? Now let me take one more question here in the similar way. So now what happened here? See clearly. So this is the compound given to us. Okay. Now this should be converted like this. This should be converted like this. So what are the reagents used to carry out this conversion? What are the reagents used to carry out this conversion? Again, let me take the same options here. First one, Clemmensen's reduction. Second one, Wolff-Kishner's reduction. And the third one, any of these. While fourth one, none of these. Okay, so see clearly. And here also once you see, C double bonded O is converting to CH2. So which reagent is suitable in this conversion? Which reagent is suitable in this conversion? Clear? So here, what is the answer? You know, answer is the Clemmensen's reduction answer. Why Clemmensen? Let me go to the next slide to explain this one. So now, see clearly everyone now. So this is the compound given to us. So if I use the Clemmensen, what is the Clemmensen reagent? Zinc amalgam in HCl. Then C double bonded O converts to CH2 and this bromine will be as it is. So this is the preferable one. But one thing, if you take the Wolff-Kishner reagent, then what happened? Wolff-Kishner reagent is in which medium? Basic medium. What is the Wolff-Kishner? NH2, NH2. Am I right? Hydrogen basic medium. So I think, you know, here two hydrogens will be there here. So what base will do? Base will remove the proton from here. Is it clear? Base removes the proton. So when base removes the proton, then here double bonded O and here negative charge and here bromine. Are you followed? So when the negative charge enters into the ring, then bromine has to leave. Clear? Then what is the product form? Tell me. Product formed is this one. But we want this product, no? We don't want this one. Therefore, this is not the reagent used. This is the reagent used. Clemmensen reagent. So here I can make a statement. See clearly. In case of base sensitive, in case of the base sensitive groups, Clemmensen reduction is preferred. In case of base sensitive groups, Clemmensen reduction is preferred. In the next slide, I will show you two statements also. See clearly, everyone. Okay. So let me make a statement here. Now, see clearly. Okay. In case of acid sensitive groups, in case of acid sensitive groups, okay, so Wolff-Kishner is preferable. Wolff-Kishner is preferable. Wolff-Kishner is preferable. Okay, you may ask me, acid sensitive means what? For example, let us take one group X. Okay, if it contain a lone pairs, okay, then it is called as the acid sensitive. Are you followed? Now, in case of base sensitive groups, like halogens, for example, in case of base, okay, sensitive groups, in case of the base sensitive groups, then, okay, so in case of base sensitive, then Clemmensen reduction is preferable. Clemmensen's reduction is preferable. Clemmensen's reduction is preferable. So remember, in case of acid sensitive, Wolff-Kishner is preferable. In case of base sensitive, okay, Clemmensen is preferable. Hope you are able to understand this one. Completed. So this is completely about the Clemmensen and Wolff-Kishner. Followed. Now here let me enter into the next chemical property, and that next chemical property is reduction to alcohols. Reduction to alcohols. This is the next chemical property. Reduction to alcohols. Now, see clearly everyone know here, if I take the aldehyde, so this is an aldehyde here. So this aldehyde, when undergo reduction, then what is the product formed? You know, RCH2OH. So remember everyone, this RCH2OH is there now. It is primary alcohol. You may ask me, what is the reducing agent used? So here, reducing agent used may be NaBH4, sodium borohydride, or maybe LiAlH4, lithium aluminium hydride. Sodium borohydride or lithium aluminium hydride, any one of the reducing agents can be used here. Followed everyone? Let us take one example to make you to understand well. So now, okay, so let me take one example here. CH3C double bonded OH, ethanol. So when ethanol undergo reduction with lithium aluminium hydride, so what is the product form? Tell me. CH3, CH2OH. So what is the name of this one? The name of the product is ethanol. Name of the reactant is ethanol. So ethanol gives ethanol. Please be clear here. I hope you are able to understand. Then what about the ketones then? That in the next slide we are going to see. So now see clearly, coming to the point of ketones. Okay. So ketones undergo reduction with lithium aluminum hydride. Ketones undergo reduction with lithium aluminum hydride. In case of ketones, we have to use strong reducing agent only. Okay, because ketones, anyone remember in the starting class I told you, ketones are less reactive, aldehydes are more reactive. So due to less reactivity, to reduce the ketones, we have to use the strong reducing agent like lithium aluminum hydride. Is it clear? So now what happened? When ketones undergo reduction, then here the product obtained is which alcohol? Secondary alcohol. See clearly. Secondary alcohol. So this is the ketone. Clear? Let us take one example also to explain this one. So CH3, C double bonded O, CH3, when undergo reduction with lithium aluminum hydride. So here, this is the product obtained, secondary alcohol. What is the name of this product? Tell me. 2-propanol. Okay. What is the name of the ketone? Propanone. Clear? So remember, lithium aluminum hydride is strong reducing agent than sodium borohydride. Why it is strong also we are going to see in the next slide. Follow? Now, here if the NaBH4, okay, that is the sodium borohydride. What is its structure? NaBH4, see clearly. This is the Na plus BH4 minus. This is NaBH4. Are you followed? Now, see clearly here. Let me take the lithium aluminum hydride also. LiAlH4. So, Li plus, then here AlH4 minus. This is the lithium aluminum hydride. I think it is clear to everyone. So, here, once you see now, everyone know, boron is bonded to the hydrogen. And here, aluminum is bonded to the hydrogen. Okay. And I think, boron hydrogen bond is there. Na? So, this bond is strong bond here. So, that means this compound is there. Na? What is the name of this one? Sodium hydride. Hydride means what? H minus. So, when the bond is strong, then it is difficult to break the bond. But here, aluminum is large size. Okay. Hydrogen is small size. So, due to size difference, this bond is weak. Due to size difference, this bond is weak here. That bond can be broken easily. When the bond is broken easily, then H minus can be formed very easily from here. Is it clear, everyone? Aluminum hydride, lithium aluminum hydride. Hydride means what? H minus. So can you tell me in sodium borohydride, lithium aluminum hydride, which can give hydride easily? Means lithium aluminum hydride. Why? Why? Because the aluminum hydrogen bond is weak due to size difference. But boron hydrogen bond is strong. So it cannot give hydride very easily as we are getting hydride in case of lithium aluminum hydride. Therefore, if we take the, which is a strong reducing agent, means lithium aluminum hydride is strong reducing agent when compared to sodium borohydride. I hope you are able to understand this one. Clear, everyone? So here, let me summarize this reduction now. So see clearly, here I am taking the aldehyde. So when aldehyde undergo reduction, then what is the product formed? Primary alcohol. So this is the aldehyde. Okay, so when aldehyde undergo reduction, is it clear? Similarly, if I go in the backward direction, this is called as what? Oxidation. Anyone remember this? I told you in alcohols chapter. Primary alcohols and oxidation gives aldehydes. Then if I go in the forward direction, reduction. So remember everyone, forward direction is reduction. Backward direction would be oxidation then. I hope you are able to understand this one. Completed. Similarly, if I take ketones case, then that also we are going to see here. So R C double bonded OR. Okay. So as I told you, ketones undergo reduction to give what? Secondary alcohols. So this is the secondary alcohol and this is the ketone. Clear? So when ketones undergo reduction, we get secondary alcohol. If I move in the backward direction, that would be oxidation. Then secondary alcohols and oxidation gives ketones. Ketones and reduction gives secondary alcohol. But remember, in case of ketones, we have to use the strong reducing agent like lithium aluminum hydride only. Hope you are able to understand this one. So this is the oxidation. Clear? So once let me move to the previous slides. So here reduction part is complete. Am I right? Now coming to the point of the oxidation, we are going to see. Reduction part is completed. Now the next chemical property is oxidation. Okay, one should be very careful regarding oxidation. Followed everyone? So now coming to the point of the oxidation here. So I am taking here aldehyde. Clear? So when aldehyde undergo oxidation, then remember everyone, acid is formed, carboxylic acid is formed. So this is the aldehyde. Clear? What are the oxidizing agents used? We can use KMnO4 in the acidic medium, or else we can use K2Cr2O7 in the acidic medium, or one more is there, Tollens reagent. What is a tolerance? In this chapter only, at the end we are going to see. Okay, so this is the tolerance reagent, and remember everyone, tolerance reagent is the mild oxidizing agent. So what I want to say is that if you use strong oxidizing agents like KMnO4, K2Cr2O7, these two are the strong. Okay, this is the mild. That means if you use strong or mild, the product is same only. You will get the acid. So aldehydes on oxidation give acid, whether the oxidizing agent is strong or else mild. That means aldehydes are very easily oxidized. I hope you are able to understand this one. Clear? Let us take one example here only to make it understand well. So CH3, C double bonded OH, when undergo oxidation with any one of the oxidizing agents I mentioned above. So what is the product formed here? The product formed is CH3, C double bonded OH. What is the name of the acid formed here? Ethanoic acid we can call, or even we can call acetic acid, both are same. So this is oxidation of what? Aldehydes. Clear? Now ketones. Ketones oxidation is the very, very important one. Okay, and many times we got the question in the mains and advanced regarding the ketones. So ketones are very important one. Now here, for example, if I take the ketone like this, okay, CH3, C double bonded O, CH3. Okay, so general formula of ketones is what? R, C double bonded O, R. While general formula of aldehydes is what? R, C double bonded O, H. So once you see now, everyone know. So this is the carbonyl group. Carbonyl group is surrounded by bulky alkyl groups. That means crowding is more. Whereas here this is the carbonyl. Now one side R is there, one side H is there. That means crowding is less. Is it clear? Since crowding is less in aldehydes, aldehydes undergo oxidation very easily than ketones. Remember, aldehydes undergo oxidation very easily. I hope you are able to understand this one. Ketones oxidation is very difficult because in ketones, carbonyl group is surrounded by bulky alkyl groups. Crowding is very high. So due to heavy crowding, oxidation is difficult. That means under normal conditions, ketones do not undergo oxidation. We have to use the vigorous conditions only. So let us take what are the vigorous conditions then. So see clearly, everyone know, CH3, C double bonded O, CH3. We have to use the strong oxidizing agent like KMnO4 in acidic medium or K2Cr2O7 in acidic medium. KMnO4 in acidic medium or K2Cr2O7 in acidic medium. As I told you, these are the strong oxidizing agents. So any one of them can be used here. Is it clear, everyone? And remember, everyone, now here try to understand now. So here let me number this one to make you to understand clear. 1, 2, 3. Clear, everyone? So what happens here? You can, in case of oxidation, there is a chance that the bond between 1 and 2 may be broken. One more possibility is that the bond between 2 and 3 can also be broken. Both the chances are there. 1 and 2 can be broken, or 2 and 3. The bond between 2 and 3 can also. So let us see what happens if 1 and 2 is broken. So CH3, C double bonded O, CH3. Clear? With KMnO4. So now if I break the bond between 1 and 3. Clear? Now tell me, here how many carbons are there? 1 carbon is there. And here how many carbons are there? 2 carbons are there. Clear? So from this you will get 1 carbon acid. Okay. So what is the 1 carbon acid? Methanoic acid. Only 1 carbon. Now here 2 carbons are there. So you will get the 2 carbon acid. I hope you are able to understand. Now here if I break the other part then, okay, so see clearly, CH3, C double bonded O, CH3. So 1, 2, 3. Now I want to break the bond between 2 and 3. In the previous slide I had shown you 1 and 2. Now let us take between 2 and 3 in presence of KMnO4. So once you see here, how many carbons are there? 2 carbons are there. And here how many carbon? 1 carbon. So from this you will get the 2 carbon acid. What is the 2 carbon acid? Ethanoic acid. Okay. From this you will get the 1 carbon acid. What is the 1 carbon acid? Methanoic acid. Hope it is clear, everyone. In previous slide also you see we got the same thing. Methanoic. Here also we got the same thing. Clear? That means what I want to say is that, so the ketone which I took is the symmetrical ketone. See clearly. So here once you see, no, the alkyl groups are same here. Okay. So here you see the alkyl groups are same. When the alkyl groups are same, then that ketone is called as what? Symmetrical ketone. Ketone is said to be symmetrical ketone. In case of symmetrical ketone, okay, if you break the bond between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, the product will be same. If you break the bond between 1 and 2 or else between 2 and 3, you will get the same product. I think you are understanding this one. But remember, if you take unsymmetrical, there only the problem will come. So now, see clearly, here I am writing the oxidation of unsymmetrical ketone. Oxidation of unsymmetrical ketone. When the ketone is unsymmetrical, then what to do? Okay, so here one rule is there. IUPAC proposed one rule. Okay, so according to that rule, remember everyone, in oxidation of unsymmetrical ketones, in oxidation of unsymmetrical ketones, okay, here I am telling you one rule, Popov's rule. Popov is a scientist who proposed one rule. Popov's rule is to be followed. Popov's rule is to be followed. Clear everyone? So remember everyone, in case of oxidation of unsymmetrical ketones, Popov's rule is to be followed. So what is that rule that I am going to explain now by taking one example to you. Then we will be doing some questions also. Okay, so let me take one example here to make you to understand well. See it before going to start the example here. Okay, so here before going to start the example, I want to take one important thing here. So here, ketones are oxidized. One important thing I want to clear. Ketones are oxidized when they contain. Ketones are oxidized when they contain alpha CH2 group. This is the most important condition. Ketones are oxidized when they contain alpha CH2 group. You may ask me, which ketone, sir? Is it symmetrical, unsymmetrical? Means any ketone it may be. Whether it is symmetrical or unsymmetrical, whatever it may be, if it contain alpha CH2 group, then only they can then only such type of ketones will undergo oxidation. What is alpha CH2? Okay, we are going to see here. Now, so see clearly, for example, let me take the ketone which I took in the previous slide. CH3, C double bonded O, CH3, I am writing in this way. Clear? So once you see now, okay, this is the functional group bonded carbon, alpha carbon. So alpha CH2 is there, you see. So do this undergo oxidation? Yes. Is it clear everyone? Alpha CH2 should be there. Completed. Let me take one more example here now. So here you see now CH3, CH, CH3, C double bonded O, PH. Now you tell me, do it undergo oxidation, this ketone? So this is the functional group. With respect to the functional group, at this alpha carbon CH is there, but what I told CH2 should be there. And here also there is no CH, there is a benzene ring, you know. So alpha CH2 is absent. Therefore, this do not undergo oxidation. This do not undergo oxidation. Okay. The similar way, if I take a ketone like this, once you see now, everyone know. So now, for example, pH, C double bonded O, pH. Tell me, do it undergo oxidation? No. Why? Why? Because alpha CH2 is absent here. Alpha CH2 group is there now. It is absent here. Clear? If I take one more compound, pH, C double bonded O, CH3, will it undergo oxidation? Okay, let us see whether it undergo oxidation or not. So pH, C double bonded O, CH3, writing in this way. So once you see functional group bonded carbon alpha CH2 is present. Therefore, oxidation is possible. Completed. So now let us see the oxidation of unsymmetrical ketones. As I told you, that is the Popoff's rule we have to follow. So what is that rule? Okay, what is that one? Now see clearly. So CH3, C double bonded O, CH2, CH3. This is unsymmetrical ketone. Clear? So first of all, we have to check whether alpha CH2 is there or not. Okay, so here you see now alpha CH2 is there, so no doubt oxidation is possible. So according to Popoff's rule, break the carbon-carbon bond in such a way. Once again, I'm telling you, break the carbon-carbon bond in such a way that the carbonyl should be bonded to the smaller alkyl group. Once again, I'm telling you, break the carbon-carbon bond in such a way that the carbonyl should be remained attached to the smaller alkyl group. So once you see, this is the carbonyl. With respect to carbonyl, here one carbon is there, and here once you see, two carbons are there. Which is the smaller one? One carbon alkyl, two carbon alkyl, one carbon. So break the bond in such a way that carbonyl should be attached to smaller alkyl group in this way. Is it clear, everyone? Now tell me, on the whole here how many carbons are there? Two. On the whole here how many carbons are there? Two. So from this, what is the acid that we are going to get? What is 2 carbon acid? CH3COOH. What is the 2 carbon acid? Again CH3COOH. That means 2 moles of same acid we will get here. So once again, I'm telling you, according to Popoff's rule, carbonyl group should be bonded to smaller alkyl group preferentially. Completed. We will take still some other examples also to make you to understand well. Okay. Now here, for example, if I take a compound like this. Okay. Now okay, so this one will undergo oxidation. Okay, you try this one, everyone. Try this compound. First of all, do it undergo oxidation. Yes, alpha CH2 is there. So how the bonds will be broken? Now here you see how many carbons are there? 6 plus 1, 7. Whereas here how many? 1. Therefore, carbonyl should be bonded to the smaller alkyl group preferentially. Clear? Now on the whole, how many carbons? 2 carbons. Okay. So tell me, from this part, what is the acid that we are going to get here? See clearly. This CH2 is there now. It will convert into COOH, benzoic acid. Clear? From the other part, what is the acid? Ethanoic acid. Clear? Let me take one more example also. So this one when undergo oxidation, what is the product form? Try this question. So once you see here, with respect to carbonyl, here CH2 is there, you see. Am I right? With respect to carbonyl, here CH is there, you see. This is C, this is H. Clear? So the bond should be broken in this way then. Carbonyl should be bonded to smaller one preferentially. Is it clear? What is the product form then? See clearly. C double bonded O is there now. It is converted into COOH. Then after C clearly, CH, to which CH3 is bonded. Then this is one CH2, this is one CH2, this is one CH2. These CH2 groups are there. Clear? Then alpha methyl, this CH2 group is there now. This one converts into one more COOH. This is the product form. Hope you are able to understand this one. Let me take one more. So do this one. What is the product formed in this oxidation? So here you see now, both the sides CH2 is there. Both the sides CH2 is there. So this is symmetrical or unsymmetrical? Symmetrical. In case of symmetrical, however you break, you will get the same product only. However you break. In case of symmetrical, there is no problem. So once you see, ketone converts into acid. Is it clear? Then how many carbons are there? How many CH2? 1, 2, 3, 4th. Is it clear? Then this CH2 group is there, no? It converts into what? COOH again. So what is the name of this acid I am writing here? This compound is said to be adipic acid. This compound is said to be adipic acid. Clear? So in this way, unsymmetrical ketones undergo oxidation according to Popov's rule. Clear? Right. Now, remaining chemical properties in tomorrow's class we are going to see. So meanwhile, let me show you the slide from the starting onwards. Okay. So see clearly, this is the first slide. Second one. Next. Third one. And this is the fourth one. Similarly, fifth one. Sixth one. Finished. This is seventh slide. This is the eighth slide. This is the ninth slide. Tenth slide. Eleventh slide. This is the 12th one. This is the 13th one. Fourteenth one. 15th one. Okay, 16th slide. And this is the 17th one. Eighteenth one. 19th one. And this is the 20th one. Is it clear, everyone? So remaining chemical properties in tomorrow class we will be discussing. Okay.